Good morning, YouTube. Today, we're going to fix this Ferrari F430, which has a busted fuel pump.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
For your channel, my name is Dan, and we are at the Stub. This is our dealership, NG Supercars, and this Ferrari F430 is for sale. Well, actually, no, it's not. I lied. This one's actually already sold, but the person buying the car asked us to check on the fuel pump, so we did, and well, it didn't matter because the left fuel pump died anyway. So it's one of those weird things where the car was fine one day, everything worked, and then the next day it wasn't. It just died. Now it's only running on half the engine, so the right half works, the left half doesn't, because, well, that's what happens when you don't have fuel. So I wanted to show you a quick tip when you're buying these cars of how you can look out for this exact problem. All right, YouTube, so what you can do is if you happen to have an endoscope, which is not a bad idea to get something like this if you're working on cars, not that expensive on Amazon. I'll send a link in the description below of this one. And what I've done is I've threaded it through that little hole, and I put it so it's right next to the fuel pump, and right here you can see it's sitting on top of the fuel pump. Now if you notice, the top of the fuel pump is yellow and the bottom, the ring that holds it in place is white. Well, that is the new style of fuel pump and ring. You can see the old style is kind of like a cream color. So if you see like a cream color, that's not such a good thing. If you see a yellow one, you're good. If you see a yellow top with a cream ring, you're probably still okay. Now the rings can sometimes fail and crack, but that's not as likely as it is to have the top of the fuel pump fail. So what's kind of cool is we actually tested this theory on that car over there and confirmed that yes, that car has the new pumps. And we had evidence of that because we actually have a receipt. So that's a good thing too. So they weren't lying, great. But anyway, that is a quick tip. Anytime you're buying these cars, that is going to be one of the things that we now check for everywhere we go, and we're just going to bring this thing with us because that saves us a lot of headache. As long as we're talking about fires and Ferraris, here is our Element fire extinguisher. We sell these on our website, normalguysupercar.com. So this little tiny fire extinguisher lasts 50 seconds. And there's the big boy, this one, which lasts 100 seconds, and they don't expire like regular fire extinguishers that you have to check the pressure and blah, 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 and all that crap. Much smaller, lasts longer, lighter, better in my opinion, and they don't put that chemical powder all over your stuff. So if your car does catch on fire and you put it out, you're not damaging the paint and everything else. So hopefully, hopefully you never have to use it, but if you do, yeah, this is what we put in most of our cars. I have them all over the shop. So we sell them again, normalguysupercar.com. Check it out. Buy some of those from us and protect your car.
Oh no, gotta get this under control quick. Even with my nerves going crazy, I got my element activated in less than 7 seconds. Get that bulky canister out of the way. It won't reach under there anyway. Look at this. So small it easily reached deep under the car. One-handed. Most traditional extinguishers would be empty by now. You can actually see Element's potassium ion vapor interrupt the chemical reaction of the fire, even when it's not aimed right at the base.
I think it might be out.
All right, YouTube, so we have the new fuel pump right here, and as you can see, this one has the fuel sender. So of course we had to get the left side that broke, not the right side. By the way, if these fuel pumps go out on your car and you've got the old ones, just replace them both at the same time. It's probably worth it because eventually they will crack. Please stop doing the epoxy thing. What we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is we can't just pull it straight out. We're gonna have to disconnect the fuel tank and then tilt it. We're gonna have to drain out some of the fuel. We're gonna have to undo this bracket. There's also a strap thing that goes over the tank. So we're gonna have to pull off the fender liner. That's the best way to get to it. Yeah, you can see there's bolts there and down there. So yeah, fun. Good news is I think we can do this without putting on the lift. I think we can just do it on the quick jacks because I really don't feel like driving this car over to the lifts. Since it's only running on half the cylinders, it's probably not a good thing. Okay, YouTube, we've got the air vent disconnected. We've got most of the lines disconnected. I disconnected the heat shield. You can see it's just kind of dangling. However, I didn't get the lower ones, the lower bolts for the heat shield disconnected. So there are some bolts right here, and then you can see there's this strap right here that holds it. So I can't tell if it's gonna be easier to undo that. I think it's gonna be easier to undo it up here, and I'm probably gonna have to disconnect this clamp and this rubber section because that's gonna make it impossible to really move the tank around. Probably also gonna have to drain out some fuel at this point. I disconnected the clips on this wire and completely removed the fuel tank bracket right here. So far everything's been like 10 millimeters. It's been pretty easy. The wheel liner of course has Phillips, so you do have to take off the front and back because it's the front piece that is in the way. Okay, YouTube, got the old pump out and it is a pain in the ass. You have to kind of move the tank back and then tilt it. The good news is when you're removing the old one, you just kind of bend it until it breaks and snap it right out of there. Obviously we can't do that with the new pump, so I'm probably gonna have to wait for Josh and probably have him push on the tank while trying to insert the new pump, because trying to do it while holding it, like you're using all your strength to pull the tank and then you're trying to finagle this thing in there, and it is a tight squeeze. Ugh. Also, I still haven't been able to drain out the fuel because I don't have a siphon, so I'm waiting for Josh to bring a siphon. So once he gets here, maybe we'll do that, and that should make it maybe a little bit easier, because it's like got like a little bit less than a half a tank, so that could be easily 10 plus gallons in the tank. Well, distributed across 2 tanks. Either way, 5 gallons, that's like 50 pounds. Yeah, that makes it a little bit more difficult. I did use a crowbar to just kind of wedge it in there and break it free, so like there's a foam gasket all around it, and it kind of has like welded itself to that foam. So using the crowbar, kind of like broke it free a little bit. It sucks. It's a pain in the ass. Doing this on the 430 versus the 360, the 360 has like a bunch of screws on the top, and it had a piece that you could actually pop off and then slide out of the way and get it out without having to do all this. And then the Spiders actually have a hole where you can actually pop the fuel pump right up out of the hole. You put the top halfway up. So doing the coupes is much more difficult. Or I should say the Coupe 430 specifically is much more difficult. So it's not the same as the 360s, not the same as the Spiders. Hooray, we got the new pump in. So basically I had to remove the heat shield, I had to disconnect the fueler neck and kind of get everything out of the way, scooch the tank this way kind of at a diagonal, and then I could tilt it just a slight bit and then just crane it in ever so carefully. Trickiest part is just clearing that, anyway, be careful doing it. You don't want to break the new pump because that would suck. So got the new one in position. Now I just need to get it strapped down and then put everything back in its place, as I have this giant pile of various parts and stuff laying all over the place. All right, check it out, YouTube. New pump is in, hooray! Only one problem, we don't have the fuel line yet. So if you saw my last video, you know that the epoxy that the person put on there actually ruined the fuel pump. So I had to buy a new, it ruined the fuel pump, but yes, it also ruined the fuel line, and it's just screwed. I just don't feel comfortable trying to like salvage this. Like, it's all degraded and the epoxy kind of like melted part of it. You can see it's all messed up right there. So I'm waiting on that to come in. It should be in the next day or two. Sorry about the auction in the background. We're trying to buy some cars, but yeah, there you go. That is as far as we're gonna be able to get today. So I will finish this up as soon as that part gets here, and we can start this up, and hopefully it will sound like it's supposed to and be able to drive and be in good shape. So yes, the other fuel pump was already done like we saw. It's a good idea to replace the gasket that goes around. It's actually an O-ring, it's green. It's probably not a bad idea to replace that. A lot of people replace that ring too. That's because sometimes those rings get really delicate and they shatter. So if you're not careful when you're taking them off, we've actually broken one before. So you don't have to replace it, but you know, if you don't buy one, you're taking a risk that it might break. And if it does, well, then you're screwed and you gotta wait until you order one of those. And they are kind of a pain in the butt to find because they're not always available. Hooray, getting closer to getting this thing out of here.